SicEm365 Radio. Call us on the Impact Health Labs caller line at 254-339-1122.
Sit down, Bob. I'm not happy, Bob. Not happy.
Now back to the Bears Den with Drake Toll and J.D. Pickell for the Blonde Boys Power Hour.
Welcome back into the Petty Clinic Low T Bears Den. I'm Drake Toll alongside J.D. Pickell, Armstrong Sims today on Up Tempo. It is Up Tempo on Wednesday. How about you? Baylor in search of a new women's basketball coach today, and the search is on for Mack Rhoades and company, the administration. And the first call that I made when I heard that Kim Mulkey was leaving the Lady Bear basketball program was this guy right here, Coach Bob Green. And Coach, what do you think? How about a little women's basketball action? You think you could coach it?
Well, you know, I was a high school assistant basketball coach years and years ago at a small town in western Nebraska. The head basketball coach is my assistant in football, and I was assistant in basketball. And, hey, we were up tempo, man. We would fake to the open man and shoot. Our guys would rather pass a kidney stone than a basketball. They shot that thing, man. But, you know, I'm retired. I'm not going to be a candidate. You can write me off.
Well,
confirmed on Up Tempo.
Coach, yeah, we were looking at a figure around $2 million, but since you said no, that's all right. We'll just go ahead and take your name off the list. Thank you for doing that. I do want to ask you, though, Coach, and I want to be very candid in my first question, and that's this. Who is, for those that don't know, Bob Green?
Well, you know, I'm a geriatric football coach. I coached for almost 40 years at 4 universities and 2 high schools. Enjoyed them all. The last 24, I coached here at Montana Tech. I was the head football coach here. For 17 years, I was also the athletic director. That was kind of the business model back then. But yes, I enjoyed everywhere I was. I'm maybe a little different than some old coaches. You know, they'll tell you they served time at this place or this place as a whole or something. But I really liked everywhere I was. Obviously, the 24 years that I was here was a highlight. We're an institution that has real high academic standards, and we were able to be successful. And I worked with a lot of great young men, great coaches, just had a blast. But, you know, that's the way it was at all the places I was. I can say, you know, we certainly didn't win them all, but had a great time everywhere. And, you know, I think the older you get, the more you see that you have an influence on people, and I think that grows on you.
Coach, we just had our spring game here in Waco for the Baylor Bears. Again, we're a Baylor-centric show. The way you ran your program, how much stock did you put into the spring games, if you will?
That's an excellent question. We really thought it was a big deal. I know that some coaches have various ideas about it. And of course, I never had to coach during a pandemic, but and that throws another monkey wrench in it. But I always thought it was real serious. You know, we wanted to get a lot done in spring. Now, that being said, we would vary how we did it depending on our experience level. You know, the more we needed experience, the more experience we got in terms of hitting, in terms of scrimmaging, those type of things. And, you know, the 40 years that I coached college football, if there was ever a period of time that saw more change, I'd have to see it. Because when I got into it, it was essentially an unregulated industry. And then, as you guys know, scholarship limitations, recruiting limitations, all those rules really came into being. And again, I'm not like Oko. Those things are good things, you know, but you really had to adjust. And so as you were able to do less time-wise with your guys during the year, and, you know, the strength coaches would be with them, those type of things, that further made spring practice important. We'd always finish here with a big scrimmage and do a weekend of it. We would have, you know, alums come in, and we'd do a big banquet the night before, and then we'd do an auction, you know, a fundraising auction for all sports. So, yeah, to answer your question, it's a big deal for us.
Coach, along with that, you spent most of your spring games in your career at Montana Tech University, and they've got who I would say, you know, I come from Arkansas, and the slogan is "There's only one Razorback," and I got to believe there really is only one ore digger. What is a Montana Tech ore digger?
Well, that's a good question. You know, we were started as a mining school. Now we're a big school in engineering. I know when I applied here, I'm the world's worst interview. I had a lot of jobs, but I'm a terrible interview guy. So I interviewed, and our president, Dr. Lindsey Norman, said, "You realize, Coach, we have an outstanding engineering curriculum." And I told him I always loved trains. I just didn't know. But there are other ore diggers. The Colorado School of Mines are the ore diggers, an NCAA Division II school down in Golden, Colorado. And, they're a rival of ours. By the way, we were undefeated against them. Just check the record, just as an aside. But an ore digger's a miner. Charlie Ore Digger's our mascot. And that's what we started out as the Montana School of Mines.
Wow. Charlie the Ore Digger.
Coach, you strike me as a guy that has been around football for a very long time. Obviously, you coached for a long time, but even before that.
Not a day over 55. Not that long of a time.
24 seasons, my man's been around the game. Coach, you're a legend. Coach, when did you fall in love with football? Was that something that your family did, you grew up with? Talk to us about that.
Well, that's a great question. Speaking of where I was, though, I see in Drake's phone number, he's got a Conway, Arkansas number. And, of course, when I was at Northwest Missouri State, we played Central Arkansas. I remember some games there, Conway. And then they got a little suburb there, Toadsuck, where the Toadsuck, the industry selling T-shirts. So I have been around a little bit. But, I fell in love with football as a young kid. I grew up in Nebraska. And obviously that was in the 60s, the late 50s and 60s when Nebraska rose to prominence. So, of course, I was into all sports. All we did, was play football, basketball, baseball. We did all those things. Football, probably the team element. I certainly wasn't a great player. Don't get me wrong. The team element of football appealed to me. I like the fact there are a lot of people there. Football is the only sport where everybody has to be doing everything right. Nothing wrong with basketball, but you got LeBron James. Hey, the rest of you guys get out of the way. LeBron's going one-on-one here. Man, that just can't happen in football. Can't happen. So I think the team element appealed to me, the competition, the excitement, physical contact, and the preparation. Basketball, baseball, really game-oriented. I mean, they talk about preparation, but just play so many games. You really don't have time. Football, just the nature of it, you play one game a week and you prepare like crazy. So those directed me toward the sport.
Coach, I'm glad you brought up Toadsuck because it's a niche thing. You say those words most places, they won't get it. But that right there.
You don't get it. They haven't been there. Conway's a beautiful place. Central Ark was a beautiful place. And they were always tough. They're an outstanding football team.
And they had an old Scottie Pippen, too. I don't know if the folks at home have heard of that name, but he played basketball there at UCA. And, the one that played for the Bulls with Jordan. Same one. Yep, that's right. Well, Coach,
crazy hair.
You talk about loving the game of football, falling in love with the game of football. There's one play that I've heard you say has maybe been your most successful across your career, and it's something that Baylor did a lot last season, and that's punt the football. Walk me through the art of punting the football.
Well, that quote kind of became famous. That was real big. A lot of coaches were going on fourth down, in those days. That was kind of the new deal. And obviously offense has risen to prominence. The rules, the field, everything, artificial surfaces, those have all contributed to making offense big. And so, everybody's going on fourth down. So the media guy, and I enjoyed hanging out with the media. I don't know how all these things get on YouTube and all these deals get started. Like I told you, Drake, I'm like Haley's Comet. I come around once every couple of years, but people put those things together and they somehow get out there. But the guy asked me, what was our favorite fourth down? And the thing just hit me. I'm going to punt the thing, most of the time anyway. Punt's a great play. If you execute it right, you got to protect the punter. You got to make a good punch. You got to cover. The ball changes hands on the kicking game play, and you can set yourself up well. That being said, I think Coach Aranda is going to get that thing going in Baylor. You got great facilities. You're in a great state to recruit, Texas. You've got tradition there. I think obviously you've got to score. Today's day and age, the old school coaches that say defense wins games, they're wrong. In today's day and age, they're wrong. You got to score. Now you got to play defense, but you got to score, and you can play great defense and still give up points. I remember even back when I was playing college football years and years ago, well, if they don't score, they don't win. Well, hey, they're going to score, guys. They are going to score. So, yeah, but I think punt is a great play. You execute it right. You look at games all the time, and now here's the old coach. I might sound like an old coach, but I'm an old coach. Kicking game, you got to be solid there and execute that punt game.
Coach Drake mentioned it. You have no shortage of OneLine wisdom. Are these things that you come up with on your own? Have you heard them before? Where are all these things originating from?
All those things, they kind of, I always thought there's no reason. I coached in some programs where there's almost an adversarial relationship with the head coach and the media, and I saw no reason to do that. Now, you're going to get criticized, hey? That's the game. And I saw that happen. The game has become incredibly popular, which is great. It's great for the game. But TV, social media, those things, give everybody a voice, and it's just more common. But my feeling was always, if you can have a relationship with the media, they're trying to get something done. They're trying to do their job. You're trying to do their job. So you're trying to do your job. So if you can have a good relationship with the media, with the newspaper, with the TV guys, the radio guys, I think that's nothing but good. And maybe that's an advantage we have up here. We're a state with, they say we have 1 million people. I don't know if we do, over 160,000 square miles. We don't have to compete with the Baylor Bears or the Nebraska Cornhuskers or the Denver Broncos. We're what's going on. The two larger universities have FCS programs. But, so we do. We're what's happening here. The local guys cover us, the state guys cover us. So, yeah, the chance to interact with the media a great deal. And, yeah, to be honest, some of those things you steal, you remember, you go all the way back to playing high school football, playing college football. I served in the Marine Corps. You hear guys say there, and they just kind of all resonate with you. And if something seems to match something you already have, I would say it, or think it. But there has to be, I remember we had a new media girl here, and we're doing the preseason football, and it's media day, and media day is a pain in the butt. The old coaches are right. It's a pain. All the coaches want to coach, and, but you get all the guys their uniforms, and they do the interviews and all those. So we would go morning practice, and that's it. Then we do media day, that's it. And we're in the cafeteria, then we do meetings and look at tape of the morning practice. And then hopefully that's all out of the way, and you just practice. So we had this new media young lady, and she said, we got all done with the interviews, and she said, say something funny. And so, you got to have some type of context. Give me a chance here. So I said, well, what do you mean? She said, well, say something funny. She said, give me a quote about a famous old coach. I said, what did that famous old coach, Amos Alonzo Staggs, say right before he died? So I told her, run that. But it went right over her head. You got to have context.
I don't know how she'd put that in print. I don't know how you'd be able to write that quote down, but I bet they could get it pretty good on camera. Coach, I'm looking at your career, 140 wins at Montana Tech as an ore digger. And one of the things that I've noted on here is a 1996 appearance in the NAIA National Championship game. But I don't want to talk about that. I want to talk about your tie. In your career at Montana Tech, you had a tie. And I've always been told a tie is like kissing your sister. I want to know your thoughts on that ball game.
Well, that was with Chadron State College from Nebraska. And, up here, there's not a whole lot of teams. You go a long ways, and it's, 800-900 miles on the bus to get there. And they came here, we'd come there. Danny Woodhead played for them in the NFL. And, what's his name? The great receiver for Buffalo. And then for Dallas. But anyway.
Beebe? Is that Don Beebe?
Don Beebe played for him, yeah. And we beat him with Don Beebe. Never played him with Danny Woodhead. But, Don mugged us for about 240. But we ended up winning the game. But anyway, that was a tie game here. And there was a controversial call in the end zone. We tied the game. Or no, we went to 2 points with a catch in the end zone. Maybe it was bobbled, maybe not. Hopefully you get a few breaks at home. And so we were 2 down, had to go for 2 to tie it. And so, yeah, you could tie back in those days, and we tied. You know, that happens sometimes. But it is like kissing your sister.
Which is okay in some states.
Yeah, some people allow that. I don't know. I don't think we.
Well, you know, I only had 2 brothers, so that was it.
We got to settle sometimes.
You're tough. That's a tough spot to be in. Coach, Drake alluded to it before. We got a coaching search going on here in Waco for the women's basketball vacancy. I mean, for the most part, we're fishing in the dark. I mean, we're going to find out when it gets announced. What would be your advice to the Baylor administration about who they should hire in terms of characteristics for this next women's basketball head coach?
Yeah, you know, obviously, you're probably going to have some type of committee. Don't get big committees, man. If you have a big committee, that's how you get a camel, as a horse by committee. And so I'd keep that committee small. I'd look at people coming in, and obviously you gotta, you're dealing with agents most of the time, which I think is very difficult. But you want to do a good job of vetting them, good job of checking them out, because we get some hires now that they get on social media and they found out a guy said something 5 years ago on social media, and everybody makes a big deal of it. I think that you got to work that. I think. Obviously, character comes into play. There's no substitute for character. I mean, those people have to be dependable. They have to be. I'd always call character high trust, low maintenance. And I think it's the same thing, with a coach. And obviously, at Baylor, you have conditions, that don't exist everywhere else. So that has to be there too. I do think, though, you have to move reasonably quickly. I think a lot of times you take too long on these deals, and then it looks bad for everybody. Now, and that's more of a big deal. I remember when I interviewed here, I told you I'm a terrible interview. I went back to Maryville, Missouri, and Pam Green said, well, how'd it go? I said, hey, we got this thing, man. We're moving. We're going to deal it. Well, they tried to hire 4 other guys, which didn't bother me. I don't care. But it took a while. So, I think they got to move quickly. There are a lot of great basketball coaches out there. The most important thing is a fit when you hire somebody as an assistant coach. And boy, I made some mistakes. I made some mistakes hiring assistants. And the big thing you look for is a fit. I'd look for character. I'd look for a fit. You got to be able to recruit, no doubt about that. And, Coach Smoak gets a lot of credit for being able to recruit. Man, I remember that. She had a 6'8" girl a few years ago.
Brittany Griner, yeah.
Oh, man, was she outstanding. But, I'd watch her coach, and I think she did a good job coaching. I mean, she's out there. They're hustling on defense. It looks like they're organized on offense. So those are big shoes to fill. But I'd look for that fit, first of all, and I wouldn't waste a lot of time. Get after it.
Coach, last question from us here, and thank you so much for coming on the show today, but I want to know, I've watched a ton of your interviews, and I love all the stuff that you said, even about family, and your wife, Pam, and the influence she has on you, but when it comes to, I wish we had plenty more time, I really do, but when it comes to advice that you can give everybody out there, not just the Baylor Search Committee, but everybody when it comes to life, I mean, you've made it this far to the ripe age of 52. What are your words of wisdom for the folks at home?
Well, the biggest thing, and I do corporate talks and things, and probably the best way to encapsulate our program is we did everything with positive attitude. We took over a football team. We didn't have anybody that won a game, at Montana Tech. We didn't have anybody that won one. They were 0-10 the year before. I do the big meeting with them. 0-10, man, we can't be 0-10. What can we do? What can we do? I'm going to be real positive with them. One guy in the back raised his hand. I said, yeah, what can we do? He can't be 0-10. He said, we got to schedule 9 games. So
smart kid.
I knew we had smart guys, but we always had a positive attitude. And I think that positive attitude, that positive mental attitude, seeing each day as a gift, really, really serves you well.
Well, Coach, thank you so much for coming on our show today. It's an honor to have you. I know you've gone viral again. You said at Haley's Comet. You come back around this time. But it was an absolute pleasure. I know everybody out there loved it as well. I tell you what, I'd be remiss if we didn't have you on again here in a couple of weeks, if it fits your golf schedule, that is.
Well, you got my number. Give me a call. Yeah, we'll see if we can get this computer started again.
Sure enough. Coach Green, thank you so much for doing this with us.
He's got to be. The
Thanks,
coach.
fellas.
See you,
Thanks, Coach.
That's Coach
Good
Bob Green of the Montana Tech Ore Diggers.
I think he could interview for the job.
Oh, my goodness.
He could get the job.
I love it. Take that along with Crazy Hot Matrix guy. Come on. That's just not even fair.
I love him. I love him.
Of the Ore Diggers, wow. Wow, Bob Green, a legend. Went to an NAIA national championship game. So the tie's like kissing your sister, but sometimes you just got to live with it. You just got to